Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. This is where we left off the script the other day. One of the first things that I want to do before we continue further is actually to make this into a function, and that's more to help with readability than anything else. One other thing I will do to help with readability is let's actually put these onto a single line here. And then let's see up here, after these we will do a quick, I'm going to throw in some breaks. And this is just to help when I'm looking at it to easily find stuff. So in VBScript, to make a function, all you have to do is type in function and then give it a name. So I'm going to call this sanitize text. And it's going to take in, we'll use the same str text here that's been used down below. Now, technically, this is a different variable. When you're done with the function, you have to end the function. But this is a different variable than the str text that is declared up here. But due to the scope, the function will just keep its own copy of the variable inside of it, and it won't affect anything outside here. We'll actually just go ahead and start by putting in where we create the regular expression. Do that, and then we'll put all of this in here. I'll leave out the conversion to uppercase because that would be done if we want to do that outside of the function anyway. And I see this line here actually needs to go up here. We put this in, and then the way that a function will need to end is we actually use the name of the function, sanitize text, and then we set that to this str text. So the str text begins as a variable that's fed in here, and when I call it down here, you'll see that happen. The variable then goes through all of this, and then sanitize text will be set to that value. And then down here, all we have to do is say str text equals sanitize text. So the str tells us it's a string of text. Now this should function exactly the same way as it did before. Let's go ahead and save this and just test it to see. We get this coming out and 23 words. So the function is working fine. Now that that's in place, let's go ahead and, again, this is just for a visual so that I can tell where things are. I'll call this main. Actually, main program. Okay, so main part of the program. But we don't need to do that because that's up in the function now. So I think everything is cleaned up. Let's try this again. Looks good. Gives us the results we're looking for. So it looks good so far. All right, so now let's get on to the meat of what we wanted to do with this video, which is to learn how to open a file. The first thing we're going to need is some of the file variables. So file variables. So the first thing we're going to want is an object to actually take our file scripting object. We'll abbreviate it as FSO, the file scripting object. We're going to need the object for the file itself. That's going to be how we manipulate files on it. We're also going to need a string for the file name. The next thing we're wanting to do is we're going to have to open a file. And to get the file, it's probably the easiest way to do it is to actually just prompt the user to give us the name of the file that we want to open. First thing here, let's go ahead and create the FSO. Again, we'll set the object FSO, and we're going to create the object. It's scripting.filesystem.object. So that's how we put that in there. This actually will create the object that's going to be used to manipulate files in Visual Basic. Now we need to get the file name from the user. So we'll do that with str file name equals, and then we're going to use the input box, and we'll say enter a text file.txt to open, and then we're going to have a title on this just saying open file. Let's just see what this will do. This is going to pop up an input box here. So you can see the open file is the title that comes up here. It's kind of counterintuitive that it comes second. The text that you want to have display on here goes in there. And then whatever you put in here, when you hit OK, that is what file name, the str file name, is going to be set to. Now, the first thing we want to do when we get any data from a user is we want to make sure that the data we're getting is functional. So I want to verify that the file exists. And one of the other things that I'm going to do here, just for ease of typing, is I'm not going to make somebody put in the .txt, but somebody could put in .txt. We're going to assume at first that it does have the correct file format, but if it comes back as a failure, then we're going to just add the .txt to the end and see if the file then exists at that point. What we're going to do is we're going to say if it does not exist, add .txt to the end. If it still does not exist, quit. Okay. To find out if a file exists, we can just say if not object fso.file exists, and then we put in str file name. Then we will do the following, and that's going to end the if once we're done. The first thing we want to do is we'll just add equals and file name and .txt. So we'll add that, and then we will just do this again. fso.file exists. There. And now at this point, it doesn't exist, and it doesn't exist after we've added in the .txt. So we'll just do a quick script echo able to locate file, and then we'll give them the file name here. And do that, and then VBScript.quit to end that. Okay, so just to test this really quick, we'll put this in. And what do we have here? Line 56. Oh, yeah, I did that wrong. Okay, there we go. Let's try this again. And where this little search is in the same directory that the script is in. So right now there's nothing in there, so we'll just say blah, unable to locate file blah, and it quits. Okay, let's go ahead and give it something. So we'll do a new text file. Let's just do text.txt, and we will edit this. It popped up on my other screen. Let me pull it over here. And say this is some random text. See if this works. Okay. So now it should continue on. We put text without the .txt. It goes on. It should also work if we put text.txt. So both of those will continue past, but if we have any typos, it will quit at this point. So the next thing that we want to do is actually get the contents of the file, and we're going to put it into this str text. And actually, I can just go ahead and delete this because we don't want that. So now the file exists, so get data from it. All right, so the first thing we want to do is get our file object, and that's going to be an object, part of the FSO, so part of the file scripting object itself. And we're going to tell it to open a text file. It's going to have the name, file name. And then what we're going to need is some variables in here. And I'm going to put these up at the top. We'll just make them some constants. So let's see, file constant. Now these are going to be just some useful things that we'll want. So we'll do a constant for reading, and that's going to equal 1. And a constant for writing equals 2. We could just put the number down here. We're going to be reading from this, so we could just put a number 1 there. But to help make this a little bit easier to read, we'll do the for reading and put that in there. So now that we've got the file scripting object to open the text file, what we're going to do is read in line by line. The first thing we'll do is we'll say do until the object file is at end of stream. Helps if I can spell again. And then we're going to just loop this. And so what it will do is read str text will equal the object file and read line. Now that means that the way that we're going to be doing this down below will have to change just a little bit. But that's fine. We can easily handle that. So the first thing we're going to do, of course, is sanitize a line of text. So we'll do str text Actually, we already have that down here. So we're going to do both of these from within. Technically right now, we're not going to be doing anything with this uppercase for this video, but we're going to be needing that in the future. So we'll just have it do this. And because we're doing one line at a time, we won't want to echo out the text itself, but we will want the array of words to keep track of the count. That does mean we'll need to put this part up into this loop as well. And then we need to do the counter as a running count. So we'll start this. We're actually going to be saying it's int count and or actually plus, because it's actually math. So we're going to be doing an actual count throughout this for each line at a time. And that's because there could be multiple lines. Just to guarantee that we start at 0, we'll set it to 0 up here. And then, let's see, we can go ahead and get rid of all of this. After it goes through the entire loop, then we should have there are the correct total, because it's the running total of words here. So that should work. Now let's see if there are any errors or anything. And we'll say text, hit enter, and it says there's 15 words in this. Let's go ahead and just verify that really quick. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. As you can see, it handled all the blank lines just fine and got us the correct amount of text. Now there is something that we want to bear in mind with this. Larger files will take a lot longer to go through. That's actually why I chose to read it a line at a time, because you could actually build this where you read the entire file, but putting that much of a file into your computer's memory at once and handling all the text at the same time really bogs it down a great deal. But just to show you how this works, I went ahead and downloaded a copy from Project Gutenberg of Dracula, because that is a very large book. Do you want to know how many words are in that book? Now, this will include some of the headers and things that are given by Project Gutenberg itself. So, like this kind of stuff would not actually be part of it. But the vast majority of what's in here is the actual text of the book Dracula. So let's go ahead and run our word count and just see Dracula, how long, and this is going to take several seconds to go through. How many words are in Dracula though? And it should pop up here any second now. There we go. There's 165,471 words in that file. Not all of them are from Dracula, but the vast majority are. So there you go. This is a huge file. It's, as you can see, 863 kilobytes. And it went through that. And actually, that's something that we can do. Let's just do a timer, kind of miscellaneous here. We'll do a new line for it and say, let's do start time and end time. And let's just see exactly how long this will take. So there is a command. So once we get to doing this loop, we do start time equals timer and put the parentheses. And then once we're done, end time equals timer minus start time. And I have a typo up here, it looks like. So do that. And then let's just go to here to add a new line. This puts a new line in our pop-up. I'm going to say process took and end time and seconds. So let's just see here, how long did it actually take to do this word count for Dracula. So it comes up here. All right, so it took about 6.5 seconds there, 6.414. There you go. This will get you the word count, and it reads a file. So you can put any text file in at this point and get the word count out. And we're prepping it to be able to do some more things in the near future, such as finding out the number of unique words. We're going to do that in our next video. Until then, have a wonderful day.